record still intact, the latest instalment of this rivalry means this one has added meaning. Not that Melbourne Victory are coming here as rank outsiders. They played their way back into form against Wellington on Monday. And of course, they're defending a proud record against the Sky Blues, having not lost an A-League game to them in 9 meetings. A record that stretches back 1,014 days. The Australia Day massacre that ended 5-0 to Sydney back in January 2014. Well, since then, Victory have added 3 trophies to their cabinet. Sydney desperate to end a 6-year wait this season, and they couldn't have made a more impressive start. 4 games, 4 wins, 11 scored, none conceded. They'll never have a better chance of ending that barren run against Kevin Muscat's team than tonight, you'd fancy. Yet this is a game that normally brings out the best in Melbourne Victory. And no one has yet been able to lay a glove on Graham Arnold's team, but that unblemished record about to have perhaps its sternest test, and there's no team better equipped and certainly better motivated to spoil that perfect start than Melbourne Victory. Here we go then, the 39th edition of the Big Blue. Let's get ready to rumble. Alex Brosk back in the Sydney FC team after his injury concerns. Back wearing the captain's armband. He, along with Besart Berisha, who you saw a moment or two ago, simply live for these sorts of occasions. And the first taste of a Big Blue as well for the Brazilian marquee, Bobo. Let's remind you of the team news then, starting with Sydney FC, who are unchanged from the side that started in Newcastle last week, meaning Alex Brosk does retain his spot ahead of David Carney on the left of the attack. Brosk has 3 goals in just 143 minutes of football this season. And this lineup means Graham Arnold has made just 1 change to his 11 in the first 5 matches of the season. Now, in contrast, 2 changes from the Victory 11 that hammered Wellington on Monday, 1 enforced with Daniel Georgievski's broken collarbone, meaning just a 5th A-League appearance for Stefan Negro at left-back. Meanwhile, James Troisi returns after his collarbone issues. Oli Bozanic drops down to the bench. Marco Rojas is the birthday boy. The Kiwi turns 25 today. Sydney's bench unchanged as well. A very settled look about the Sky Blues in all departments. Jai Ingham gets a spot among the Victory replacements. Well, it is a beautiful night in the Harbour City. We've had a fine sunny day, and the blustery conditions of earlier have thankfully faded away. Temperatures 24 degrees, and I've never seen this pitch looking in better condition. Well, Graham Arnold and Kevin Muscat are good friends away from the technical zone. Arnold actually handed Muscat his last international cap at this venue in 2006, making the now Victory coach captain for the game between Australia and Kuwait. But Muscat yet to lose against his old pal in 7 meetings, and there might just be 1 or 2 fireworks on the sidelines tonight as well, you'd imagine. Now in charge with keeping calm is Chris Beath, taking charge of his 3rd Big Blue. In his first, he sent off both Thiago Calvano and Fabio of Sydney, and Victory have won both the games he's officiated. Here is Besart Berisha, hat-trick hero against Wellington Phoenix, of course, on Monday, making it 4 for the season, and he's got a good record at this venue as well. And Bobo getting his first taste of the Big Blue. He's got 2 goals already for the Sky Blues, and he's got those goals from just 3 shots. They might be looking to give him a bit more service tonight, you'd think. So to the backdrop of the Cove on a beautiful early summer's evening in Sydney, we await the start of the 39th Big Blue. There's the Victory fans, not quite as many of them here tonight as per usual. Still some issues, of course, involving the North Terrace and the Melbourne Victory Club. The ones that are here will try and make themselves heard as Sydney in their sky blue jerseys get us underway, and we're off, and it's on again, Andy Harper. Nothing quite stirs the blood like Sydney-Melbourne.
No, you're right, Simon. You go back to the start of the A-League a decade or so ago, and it was Sydney and Melbourne and Adelaide and Melbourne, the really big-ticket items. Well, we were treated to the Adelaide-Melbourne instalment very recently.
There's an effort from Milos Ninkovic, first effort on target, in fact, and it's carried away none too convincingly by Lawrence Thomas, but effectively so for a corner.
And that was a heck of a match, Adelaide v Melbourne victory, and now we turn our attention to the big blue. Ninkovic with the first shot in anger. He's been in great form, the Serb. Goal and an assist last week to Newcastle.
Volante's corner in towards the near post. He'll get another go at it. Sydney FC players wearing black armbands tonight. That's in honour of Margaret Sawyer, the mother of Gail Crismail, wife of Sydney FC board member Michael, who passed away this week. Not a bad delivery again by Josh Brillante. Our thoughts, of course, it goes without saying, with the Crismail family. Sydney FC players paying their own little tribute tonight.
Yeah, well, let me add to that, Simon. Michael Crismail's family. Michael has been at Sydney FC since it started. Very committed investor and supporter of the game and the football club. So to the Crismail family, all the very best to you.
Steadied down in midfield by Brandon O'Neill, the NAB October Young Player of the Month. What a fine start he's made to his Sydney FC career. A lot of talk about the Sydney FC clean sheets record so far this season. No goals conceded. And he and Josh Brillante, who's threaded one through here, are part of the reason for that. Sydney FC looking to attack through Holosko. Will drive it across low and hard, and it cannons back off Nick Ansel, and Victory are able to clear up field.
It's a very good start this for Sydney, only a couple of minutes in, of course, but they've pretty much had Victory pegged back, and you know, of the two teams, this is certainly the bigger test for Sydney FC, you'd imagine. This is the toughest opponent they've faced. Melbourne Victory have been put through the ringer already with some of the matches they've had to aim up for. Losing in the derby, the cracker against Adelaide, dropping points last minute against Brisbane. It's been quite a baptism to this new season for Victory, and Sydney have made uncontested passage by comparison.
Just on that little jab in the press this week from Kevin Muscat, saying, yeah, we've had 3 trips outside of Melbourne already. Sydney just the once.
Of course, that's another layer to the discussion. And all these things, of course, do add up. They are considerations, and I'm pretty confident in suggesting that no one would be more across it than Graham Arnold, which would be one of the reasons why he'd have his team even more primed for tonight.
There is Arnie. Not had too many reasons to frown so far this season. Referee Chris Beath wants the free kick taken from the correct position, which Matt Yerman puts on a dime for Ryan Grant. Brillante just shielding the ball over the sidelines, continuing this positive start from Sydney FC. Looking to impose their authority in the early stages on Victory. Grant for Holosko. Turns straight into Lee Broxham. Clearance by Lawrence Thomas, and there was a nudge by Brillante on Troisi. Free kick Victory.
It's a terrific inclusion for Melbourne Victory, James Troisi. Of course, he adds enormous attacking flair and be a real threat for that rock-solid central midfield combination of Brillante and O'Neill. Troisi has just the bag of tricks to make the Sydney duo take notice.
Ryan Grant, who's going to have his hands full tonight, you'd think, with the pace of Mitch Austin. It's going to be one of the contests to keep an eye on. Young Stefan Nigro to take the throw in, filling in for Daniel Georgievski at left fullback, and they have got 1 or 2 absentees. Not just Georgievski, but of course their regular captain Carl Valeri in midfield as well. Well kept in by Austin. Scooped out by Grant. Five minutes played. I can tell you that Sydney FC have just ticked over 500 minutes now without conceding a goal. That's 8.5 hours of football, Andy. Going back to, of course, the final game of last season in the regular home and away campaign against Perth. When you throw in the FFA Cup ties as well, 4 of those, which they didn't concede, it's some record. And here's Holosko wriggling away from Rashid Mahazi, who had a second go getting back to him. Michael Zullo galloping forward from left fullback. He's just overhit that slightly, and the chance is gone. It's a decent counter led by Philip Holosko, who looks much more settled in his second season in Australia. Lawrence Thomas's clearance over the head of Brandon O'Neill. Cover provided by Yerman. Guerria's header, and then Troisi. And then off Matt Yerman for a throw. That's a lovely turn by Rojas. Showing terrific dexterity, and Victory felt that the New Zealand winger might have been foul there, but no whistle. And hasn't he excited us again in these early stages on his return to the A-League? 4 goals in just 3 matches, and if you include the FFA Cup and a goal for New Zealand in their friendly international in the States, it's 6 in 7 games.
Yeah, and of course, he missed the first A-League round, of course, away on that international duty, and was back for the next match and severely jet-lagged, you'd imagine. So when you get those 2 first rounds out of the way, or first matches out of the way, he's been very dynamic since. Another great acquisition.
Not just his goals either. Of course, he did tee one up for Bessart Berisha's hat-trick against Wellington. Lee Broxham taking charge in midfield. There's a bit of space here for Mitch Austin, who hits it first time. Decent ball in, and it loops up and into the back of the net, but the flag is up for offside, and it will not count. Well, Sydney FC, hearts in mouths there for a moment or two, with Berisha lurking just for that very sort of an opportunity.
And yeah, he's offside as Mitch Austin hits that ball. Did well to get in front of Matt Yerman after that. Good decision by the assistant on the far touchline. The key battle on the near touchline, Mitch Austin with his speed against Ryan McGowan, who has been arguably the most consistent right back in the competition.
Ryan Grant, Andy.
Ryan. You know what, I was so intent on not saying the kid from Canowindra. I got his name wrong totally. Oh, what's his name?
Ryan Grant.
That's the one.
I can tell you Ryan McGowan will be at Adelaide United's game tomorrow against the Central Coast Mariners.
Well, maybe that's what I was channeling. Thanks for helping me out there.
No problem. We're here to help each other, Andy.
Anyway, Ryan Grant's been great.
There he is. Cameraman giving us a nice close-up for you, Andy. Oh dear. Here's Jason Guerrier. Good turn by Berisha. Getting himself clear of a tight spot. Oh, and not quite so clever off James Troisi. Just feeling his way back into first-team football after that broken collarbone sustained in round 1. He did come off the bench against Wellington. Ryan Grant can't clear the head of Troisi on this occasion. Bosco trying to bring it under his spell. And eventually Sydney do get it down and play through Josh Brillante. It's well watched though by Ansell and thumped forward by Negro. Returned with interest by Grant, and now there's some room for Milos Ninkovic to make some progress. Now Zulu outside him. Ninkovic has continued the run. It's a great return pass from Zullo. Ninkovic into the near post. And Bobo just waiting for the opportunity to tap the ball home. Sydney FC do have a corner, though.
Well, a dangerous moment defensively for Melbourne Victory. It's a great pass from Zullo and a really positive run from Ninkovic. Well, with their lines breached, Victory regathered themselves superbly. In particular, the near post coverage provided by Alan Burrow was outstanding.
Lante's corner, met by Broxham. Ninkovic leaving it for Ryan Grant, who'll head for the byline. Can he keep it in play? Goodness me, nearly did the splits there, Ryan Grant. It's such a great engine, and as we've pointed out already, might need it tonight with Mitch Austin, his direct opponent, but whoops-a-daisy. What's your groin, Ryan?
Well, I don't know about his, but mine's absolutely ninging after watching that. A very buoyant start, 10 minutes in. Melbourne Victory have found themselves after being stretched in the opening 3 minutes or so.
Sydney FC with their best ever start to a campaign, 4 straight wins, which equals Brisbane's start at 11-12. Victory still hold the all-time record in that regard, 7 straight back in season 2. That's lovely football involving Guerrier. And then Troisi, it breaks for Broxham. Rojas stepping back from his initial offside position. It's all a bit tight in there for Melbourne Victory, and Ninkovic comes away with it and is then upended by Jason Guerrier.
That was a terrific attacking set of combinations from Melbourne Victory, starting with the diagonal switch from Lee Broxham to find Jason Guerrier, who, if he had his wits about him, would have helped the ball on straight away to Marco Rojas, who was free in the middle.
Ryan Grant, it's an intelligent ball by the fullback, looking for the run of Bobo.
Yeah, very promising from both teams. The willingness to release a runner through into space, trying to stabilise the opposing defensive setup. Really good energy in the opening exchanges here.
Now, Tara Rushton's got some news for us on the sidelines. Tara?
Yeah, thanks so much, Simon. Well, this sprightly start to the game shows no signs of the energy-sapping flu that swept through Sydney FC's squad. It affected about 8 of the players, including, quite severely, Michael Zullo and Danny Vukovic.
Now just break away because there's a chance here for Victory, and Marco Rojas has hit the advertising hoardings and not the goal, which is what he was aiming for. What a chance for Victory. My apologies to Tara Rushton for cutting in.
Well, again, it's the near touchline. Look at Mitch Austin, onside, and then he's going to beat Alex Wilkinson in this sort of race 9 times out of 10. And for Marco Rojas, it's one of those classics. It's easier to score than to miss.
Tara, apologies for being so rude. Continue.
No problem with that, Simon. Well, Danny Vukovic, he was saved there, but he actually missed training yesterday with this flu, but he said that it would be adrenaline that would carry him through tonight. But he got a big burst of it just then.
Sure did. Thanks, Tara. Victory by rights. Should be a goal to the good. And for all that positive start from the Sky Blues, Victory have had 1 goal chalked off for offside and 1 golden chance spurned.
And both down the near touchline. Well, on that occasion, the first one was Ryan Grant against Mitch Austin. The second one was Mitch Austin against space, really, with Alex Wilkinson working as hard as he could to get back, but it was a long shot, and everything was done for Marco Rojas.
Well, that is the danger of Mitch Austin. There he is, former Central Coast Mariner. Actually played his junior football in Sydney, in Manly. 2 goals in 4 games already for his new club. Very nearly an assist for a 5th of the campaign for Marco Rojas, who, given his current form, he'd have bet quite a large sum of money on him at least hitting the target, but he didn't. So Here's Bobo. It's well readjusted by the Brazilian and squared up by Brandon O'Neill, and the hit from Brillante had Lawrence Thomas scrambling across his line.
Well, it's a really important touch forward by Bobo. And this is the last part of the action, which was a competent strike from Josh Brillante. Lawrence Thomas,
Oof,
just
far off.
Sure.
Not far off at all, from that angle at least. Almost broke for Bobo, not quite.
Bobo's little header before to result in a Brillante touch was important. So too that from Alan Barrow. If he doesn't get his noggin even slightly onto that one, Bobo's in on goal.
There's Austin again. With Ryan Grant struggling to get alongside him. It's a little bit too close to Vukovic this time, but that's 3 warning shots really that Sydney FC have had. That is excellent work, incidentally, by Milos Ninkovic, and it's Zullo striding forward, trying to steer it behind Ansel. He defended that particular situation very well indeed. Well, you fancy there's going to be some goals tonight, Andy? There normally is.
Yeah, but there's always drama. There just hasn't been a winner for a number of these matches, but they're really flat games, and this is certainly promising to be a great encounter. Now, that last attack from Mitch Austin, easy from the bleachers to say this, of course, but that was one occasion where he might have carried the ball a little bit further. Such a clear advantage, and he takes it another 10 yards. No one's going to catch him, and his support players in the penalty area can position themselves perhaps a little better. 3 great raids down the Victory left-hand side.
Talking of that positioning for the Victory attackers, news from the sidelines, Kevin Muscat has just given Besart Berisha a little bit of a spray, telling him to liven up. Feels as though he's not quite with the pace of the game as yet. Recycled by Brosk. This is Ryan Grant. Square of him is Brandon O'Neill. Zullo. Forward by Matt Yerman, and it's found its intended target in Ryan Grant, with Negro just slightly out of position. Trying to cross on the turn. Negro back goal side by that time. And a combination of the fullback and Troisi combined to put it out for a throw. Maybe just a little warning there for Victory, and Negro, of course, playing in a somewhat unfamiliar position. He's nominally a midfielder as Ryan Grant treads on the ball. I did wonder whether we might see Lee Broxham at left fullback today, but of course the injury to Carl Valeri perhaps put paid to that theory. Bros chasing that one down, but Guerrier had his measure. Oh, and then Mahazi getting in a real tangle with a teammate. Alex Bros trying to burst through, but Alan Barrow strong in the challenge.
Another excellent piece of defending from Alan Barrow. Brosk, in the form that he's displayed in the early moments of this season too, would have been very short price to score had he negotiated the Victory defender, but he started the game really well. Alan Barrow.
It's a really good win by Ryan Grant. Now what about the cross? It catches Holosko on the heel. And the chance disappears as quickly as it arrived, but Grant might create another one. Holosko wider this time, and Sydney FC have another corner.
How dangerous is Ryan Grant proving in attack as well? Standing that number down the right flank. Perseverance winning the day against Berisha. He's had a couple of things to look at in defending Mitch Austin, but it's not stopping him from getting forward and trying to keep the pressure on Melbourne Victory.
Delante's delivery. It'll pop out here for Brandon O'Neill, who has time to set himself. Too much elevation.
Well, the NAB Young Footballer of the Month probably should have done better. A very accomplished technician, Brandon O'Neill, and that's enough space on the edge of the penalty area for a player of his form and his ability to have troubled the victory goal.
Scored that peach of a free kick, didn't he, in the Sydney derby back in round 1. And there you go, 4 shots to 1 in favour of the home team. And yet, really, victory should probably be in front. That's a game of football for you in a nutshell. O'Neill involved again. Hooked out of play by Alan Barrow. Starting to adjust to life in the Hyundai A-League, the Spaniard. Brandon O'Neill driven back, all the way back to his own goalkeeper. Brillante. Moscow. Taken away from him momentarily by Negro. And a rather aimless crossfield release from Grant. In stark contrast to some of his earlier play. Here's Grant again. Very few players in the park see more of the ball than him at the moment. Again, very tidy play. Bobo for Zullo. Holosko and his run towards the near post. Ball can't reach him or Ninkovic.
Well, it's the game's adopting some pretty familiar and repetitive patterns already, Simon.
Ninkovic. See what he was trying to do, and then trip by Michael Zullo.
You've reinforced a couple of them. Ryan Grant's ever-presence, his involvement, the switches of play and players with forward runs being rewarded, and Alan Barrow, who has been the last line of defence for victory on more than one occasion. He's been in the right place to defuse Sydney FC at least 5 or 6 times.
Troisi being bumped and barged around by the Sydney FC defenders, but he's still got the ball. Quite how, I'm not sure. What a mazy dribble that was from James Troisi, and he gets his reward with a free kick.
Well, it's a great sight for fans of Australian football to see James Troisi so nimble-footed.
He had the ball on a string here.
Well, he's surrounded by plenty of very, very good Sydney FC defenders, and he still found a way through. Wonderful play from Troisi.
Good field position this, particularly for the left-footed delivery. Sydney FC trying to hold a high line, and it's gone through everyone, but referee Chris Beath has pointed to the penalty spots for Melbourne victory. Alex Brosk leading the protests. And I think it's Holosko, the man who's been penalised. Sydney FC non-plus, but Chris Beath saw something there. I must confess I didn't. Andy Harper, maybe you did.
Well, let's see. There's Holosko on Berisha. I'm pretty sure, like you, Simon, it's Holosko who's been pinged. Got a handful of the shirt, he can't complain. Alex Brosk said, ref, I think, amongst the expletives, how can you pick that one amongst everything else? Well, pick it he did. It's the referee's prerogative. He saw a handful of Besart's Berisha shirt in the left juke of Philip Holosko, and Sydney staring down the barrel of conceding their first goal this A-League season.
Well, it's nearly 520 minutes since they last conceded a goal in the A-League. All eyes on Besart Berisha in front of the Cove. Scored 2 penalties against Wellington on Monday. Part of a treble that night, and potentially about to bring the curtain down on Sydney's 0 goals against column from 11 metres. It's Berisha, and he's blazed it over the top. There's a bit of afters with Holosko as well. And joy unconfounded for the Sydney FC fans. He doesn't miss too many, Besart Berisha. But he's missed that one, seemingly by quite some margin.
Well, the Cove are reacting like their team scored rather than victories missed. It's a truly horrible penalty.
He's ballooned it.
And Kevin Muscat sensed trouble earlier. You reported the fact that he tried to communicate to Berisha, get yourself going. And maybe we've seen the manifestation of what Kevin Muscat was fearing. I got no problems with the penalty whatsoever. Terrific adjudication from Chris Beath. And Besart Berisha fluffed his lines.
And that goals against column still reads 0. Well, Grant with the long throw as Sydney looked to build on the confidence perhaps that penalty miss has given them, but there was a late challenge on Alan Barrow. Well, Besart Berisha has just missed his 5th penalty in A-League history, and he ballooned it over the bar and into the Cove. Missed a couple of times against Wellington in the past, once against Adelaide, once in a Melbourne derby against Melbourne City, and now tonight against Sydney FC. He wouldn't have missed, would he, Andy? Muskie? He was pretty good at the spot kicks, although he missed one famously against Sydney in the grand final, of course, in the shootout 6 years ago.
Well, Sydney have had large parts of the game, but Victory have squandered 2 brilliant chances. Rojas one, Berisha from the spot.
Grant with time to assess his options. That's very can't play by Milos Nenkovic. He's having a terrific campaign so far.
And I really like the comments during the week from...
Oh, I was just about to say, what about that for a ball? But it's just beyond Ryan Grant.
You know, the acknowledgement paid to Nenkovic by Graham Arnold. I mean, a lot of people might think it's... You know, you're on contract as a player, the club wants to retain you, you just pull your head in and get back to work. And, of course, that's the theory. It's too much for a lot of players. And, of course, I'm referring to the fact that Nenkovic received a big money offer to move to the Middle East in the twilight of his career.
Oh, mistake by Negro. Might allow in Holosko, squared it up looking for Nenkovic.
You might cut him some slack and understand, well, it's a great chance to go and earn your retirement. But the club said no, he stuck around and he got due acknowledgement from his coach this week, which I thought was fitting.
Now, Daniel Garb's got something for us on the sidelines. Garby. Well, Garby's obviously not there at the moment. We'll come back to Dan. Meantime, long throw by Josh Brillante. Grant, a little turn around the corner, but Negro is there. And now Austin, and Victory will look to launch a counter again. Troisi. And even the pace of Mitch Austin, that's going to be beyond him. Ryan Grant again. Back for Wilkinson. Holosko. Looking for Grant to continue that run. Negro's been asked a few searching questions, isn't he?
Even that little effort from Ryan Grant from the secondary position to win the throw-in. And Jack Hingett's been doing that in Brisbane. Corey Brown of late for Brisbane. Excellent work by the fullbacks.
Excellent work too by Melbourne Victory, and Mitch Austin's release was charged down of all people by Bobo, which delays this Victory attack for a moment. We still have it though through Troisi, who tries to prod it in with the outside of the right boot. Straight at the goalkeeper. And this one you fancy just started to come to the boil, and there's a little flashpoint between Barrow and Brosk. And Brosk shows his displeasure towards referee Chris Beath. What he thought was a foul. Hazy slightly off kilter with his return ball towards Jason Guerrier, but he's made profit from an error from Matt Yearman. victory. Got their tails up just for the moment, but pressure relieved on Sydney FC.
Yeah, the last two efforts from Rashid Mahazi, just in that single attack. Passing was off. And Melbourne Victory was set to make some good pressure. It's a very, very sprightly match, this one.
Talking of which, here's the speedy Mitch Austin. It's not a bad ball in again. Just a little too high for the rather diminutive Marco Rojas.
And so the variation has to start applying, because Danny Vukovic was already alert to the danger, but now he knows that Mitch Austin is going to try and cross as soon as he can. And Vukovic will tick most of those off from his advanced position inside the penalty area. And Mitch just needs to mix things up.
Or almost. There's little combinations for Sydney FC. Not far off gaining their reward. There we go. Kevin Muscat's team have missed a penalty. They've had a goal chalked off for offside. Rojas has spurned a golden chance, but Sydney have made 3 times the number of incursions into the penalty area. Might be another one coming in a moment. Here's Michael Zullo. A bit of open pasture, and he's going to have a dig. Puts it into the stand. He's not scored an A-League goal since all the way back in 2008, and this never really looked likely to end that drought.
No, well, the first touch from him, which wasn't ideal, eliminated some of his options, and he had to make a rush decision in the end. Do I make something now while the Victory defence is yet to set and go for the spectacular? He couldn't make the connection that he needed. Making good ground up and down that left side already, Michael Zullo. Terrific start to the season by him as well.
Interesting line that Graham Arnold told us this week, Andy, that the Sydney FC players have nicknamed Michael Zullo Daniel Guard. I think they're separated at birth, the two of them. Maybe that's why we couldn't get Garvey on the microphone a few minutes ago. Here's Brosk. Beyond Negro, not a bad delivery, and Holosko climbing, but not able to steer his header on target. Well picked out though by Alex Brosk.
And Holosko untracked through the centre of midfield. Barrow was there, but not in a situation where he can make a play at the ball. It was good commitment from Holosko.
Graham Arnold deep in thought. Now to get one over his old mate Kevin Muscat. Hasn't succeeded yet in 7 attempts. This is Bobo. He does an awful lot of good work off the ball as well. That's maybe going to be a little bit too far from O'Neill. Right idea, and again it's Ryan Grant just doing doggies up and down that right-hand flank, isn't he? Let's go down to Dan Garb. I think we've got the mic fixed, Dan.
We have, Simon. Look, never mind the reaction from the Sydney crowd and the Cove after that penalty miss by Bessard Barisha. There was a fair reaction from the Sydney bench as well. In fact, Matt Simon was off his seat, went to the referee and said something along the lines of, "How do you like that, ref?" Which was a big flashpoint. He was promptly shown his seat by Graham Arnold.
Philip Holosko giving him plenty as well. This is Mahazi meantime, and there's a chance here for Sydney. And again, it's just not quite the release from Rashid Mahazi. James Troisi would have been through one-on-one had that pass been a little more accurate, Andy.
Well, it was another good sight at the Sydney FC goal for Melbourne Victory. Ryan Grant covered it up expertly in the end, and here's some space.
And that could be a card for the young fullback.
Definitely should be. Because Holosko had turned Negro, and then he pretty much had the whole near touchline to work. The Slovak, great use of the body. Yellow card, the only reasonable outcome for Stefan Negro there.
Just his 5th game in the A-League, just his 4th start. It's a tough role for him tonight, having to deal with the likes of Holosko and More particularly Ryan Grant in these early exchanges. Stepped forward by Rojas, laid off by Berisha, and this is now Mitch Austin. He's got in a few decent crosses from that left flank. That's not one of his better ones. Lee Broxham then collected from behind by Alex Brosk, and he's going to go into the book as well. Alex Brosk has had plenty to say in these early stages. I'm not sure he can whinge too much about this, although this will tell us more.
No, it's a painful one too on Lee Broxham. It's a clear yellow card. This up Berisha, just a little word in Alex's ear on the way past, and Broski returns serve.
That's his third yellow card of the season, Alex Brosk, to go with his 3 goals. Mitch Austin removing some of the debris left by that challenge on Lee Broxham. Let's see what victory can conjure up here. It's the usual jostling for position at the back post. It's charged down by Zullo. Was he the 10 metres away? The referee was clearly happy, and Sydney could be on for the counter here. Ninkovic not quite able to wrap his boot around it. Grant trying to follow up. Eventually it squirts out towards Lee Broxham on this near touchline. Graham Arnold showing he's still got a decent touch. That's clever work by Troisi. Austin. First time ball again, looking for Rojas. Yerman fended off. Reworked by Mahazi, was then clattered after the ball had gone. And that's use of an arm or a hand by Mitch Austin.
Well, on that last attack, Graham Arnold's team scrambled better than victory anticipated, because they had good space. Here's the Graham Arnold technique. That's how you do it, lads.
Side foot, if you don't mind, in a slip-on shoe.
That's right, but he still stayed upright. I'm sure his chiropractor's very grateful. That last attack for victory was a nice little attempt to get Marco Rojas. Matt Yerman was in a good enough position to intercept the ball and headed clear. And Mahazi got the second ball, but not to the point where they could reset any sort of attack. And before they knew it, Sydney's team were back in numbers. The chance was extinguished for the visitors, and now it's Ninkovic again leading the charge.
Outside him is Bobo. Holosko again, and that's a familiar position, just lurking at the near post. It's a good touch by Yerman. Brillante sending Holosko wider than he wanted. Deflected, and Thomas has to come for it, and does. Seen some delightful touches from James Troisi on his return to the victory starting lineup this evening. Postecoglou, no doubt, at least one of the interested onlookers. He, of course, is off to Thailand with his squad at the back end of next week. This is Negro, giving it away to Brosk. They then had to protect it from the onrushing Mahazi. Free kick taken quickly. Ninkovic has let it get away from him. How about that for control? Super stuff by James Troisi again. And this is Austin, who's been in that position with chance of getting in a decent effort towards Berisha or Rojas on a number of occasions.
When you look at Danny Vukovic, just to reiterate the point, look at Danny Vukovic's starting position when Mitch Austin gets the ball. And it's just becoming a little predictable. Because once that ball is hit in by Mitch Austin, certainly on the last 2 or 3 such attempts, Vukovic's starting position is around about the penalty spot. He's only got to make one step and catch the ball. Just a little bit of variation. You appreciate the intent, trying to catch the Sydney defence before it's ready. And it should have worked on the first of the 3 goes at it. Rojas missed the open goal, as you'll recall.
Five minutes to go before the break. And it's now 9 hours, all told, since the Sydney FC goal was breached. But Kevin Muscat will believe that his team should have had at least one in his first half, possibly more. The issue with the missed spot kick, of course, the most glaring opportunity that was spurned. Oh, and Yerman with a mistake, allowing Rojas in behind, and they have conceded now, Sydney. Mitch Austin with the finish, Marco Rojas with the assist, and Melbourne Victory finally make the breakthrough. They threatened to do it for most of this first half, and now finally they have.
Well, the Sydney FC defence, which has been unbreachable so far this season, falls asleep at the wheel. And Marco Rojas, who missed from in front, he puts one on in front for Mitch Austin, hitherto the provider. And now it's Austin, the scorer, his third of the season. And the Victory will believe they've got the goal that they at least deserve.
Well, it was an error from Matt Yerman, who allowed the ball to go dead, or at least that's what he thought was going to happen. He hadn't banked on Marco Rojas sneaking in behind him. That's a trip by Austin on Grant. And the Sydney FC fans and Graham Arnold would like Chris Speed to take further action. The Sky Blues behind in a game for the first time this season, and conceding for the first time, as you mentioned, in 9 hours of football. So a different challenge now for Graham Arnold's team.
Well, look, it's been a very, very watchable, enjoyable game. Here's a chance.
Bobo, lovely turn, and he's wriggled clear of two, perhaps three. Can he find the angle for the cross? He'll get a corner off Guerrier, might have been more.
Yeah, his first real contribution of substance, had a couple of nice touches. Bobo might have, had he been involved more in the game, might have backed himself earlier in that attack to shoot for goal.
On a work back to Brillante. Off the head of Matt Yerman, and behind harmlessly from a Victory point of view.
Oh, Matt Yerman, he's been great for Sydney FC in recent times. He'll be looking to make amends for putting this one on for Marco Rojas, and full credit to Rojas. He stayed alive to the possibility, the anticipation that, you know what, I'll keep chasing this one, and then Bob's your uncle. Yerman backs the fact that the ball's going to go out. He misreads it badly. Rojas had given himself the chance to do something special for his team by staying alive at the moment. And on that score, so too Mitch Austin, who made good ground to finish the chance off.
Let's go down to Dan Garb quickly.
Simon, never mind the first goal of the Big Blue this season. We've had the first blue between the managers and the Big Blue as well. Graham Arnold and Kevin Muscat getting a little bit heated here on the touchline over a refereeing decision. It was bound to happen, as you said, pre-game.
Sure was. I don't think it'll be the last one tonight either. These games mean so much to these two clubs. It's Victory with their noses in front, and on chances created, it's hard to argue with that scoreline, top left of screen.
Well, you know, Tom, that's a great talking point coming into half-time, because it's difficult to say which teams dominated the match. I get the feeling watching it that Sydney have looked, in general, more comfortable. But Victory have had the telling chances, and, of course, they should have converted that penalty, because most often that should be the case, and that's where you feel comfortable making the point that they deserve a goal. But this one is a really tight game.
Handball by Mitch Austin, who then kicked the ball away. He might have been walking a tightrope for that challenge some moments ago on Ryan Grant. Anyway, it was escape sanction. With half-time looming, Sydney FC have a set-piece opportunity. Stefan Negro told to stay 10 metres away. It's going to be Josh Prelante. Punch it into a good area. Thomas came a long way and got good fist of the ball. It's only partly cleared though, and returned with interest by Milos Ninkovic. trying to curl it into that top corner, and he wasn't far off.
Well, he was strong, Thomas, but he didn't get what he needed, and Troisi can't get it clear. I'll tell you what, there's probably only one other player in the league you wouldn't want a muff clearance to go to, and that's Bruno Fornaroli. But Ninkovic, from that sort of range, is as crafty and dangerous. And he goes to safety from a victory point of view, but so much more might have come from Sydney. Good free kick in by Brillante.
Couple of minutes to be added on at the end of the first period. Into the first of those. Brillante wrestling Berisha to the ground. Chris Beath saw nothing untoward. Victory just trying to see it through till half-time. O'Neill. He's not going to reach that one. Cleared upfield by Guerrier. Ninkovic for Zulo. Ninkovic trying to get it on the blind side of Mahazi, who then impedes his opponent.
Well, every time Ninkovic is touching the ball nowadays, he's just looking like making something happen. Look at him as he dribbles. His head's up. He's assessing the opportunity to probe and cause trouble. The give and go with Alex Brosk. And all Mahazi can do is bring the serve down.
An arm across the throat. This might be the last action of the first half. Brillante's free kick, and it came off a victory head. I think it was Nick Ansell. Yeoman trying to keep it alive. Victory in no hurry to try and retrieve the ball for their opponents. Grant a little bit more rush. There goes the half-time whistle. Well, typical Big Blue action. It's victory with the advantage at the interval given to them by Mitch Austin after Marco Rojas refused to give up what seemed like a lost cause. Victory have had other chances. Of course, they've missed a penalty as well through Besart Berisha and in draws. So a bit of work to do for Sydney FC to change that history and, of course, to maintain their 100% start to season 12. Graham Arnold still searching for that first win over Kevin Muscat. This is his 8th go at it. Victory, pretty good value in terms of the chances created in that first period. But the Sky Blues have scored 8 goals so far in the second half of games this season. So we'll see if they can maintain the rage in the second 45. But altogether, Andy Harper, just again, fascinating Big Blue viewing.
Yeah, look, I thought it was a fabulous first half, really. Tight, some very open moments. Plenty of verbal going on between two very competitive units.
Oh, now Michael Zullo has clattered into the table that holds the fourth official's scoreboard and really whacked his head as he went flying over the top of Marco Rojas here. Bang, ouch, goodness me.
Well, that table quite obviously doesn't need to be there.
Well, and you know what, you just heard Graham Arnold saying, why is that table there?
And Michael Zullo has been so committed. Oof, I mean, that couldn't take out an eye.
Well, that's nasty and unnecessary.
I mean, what the table there is for the benefit of the substitute screen. Move the damn thing.
Well, Kevin Muscat has done just that. Michael Zullo getting some attention to the back of the head. Good to see Kevin Muscat getting involved on behalf of Sydney FC and moving that table out of the way.
Well, Zullo set up Sydney's first goal last week for Newcastle with similar commitment. And
thankfully he's okay.
Good on him.
A nasty little moment, that.
Well, potentially very nasty, Simon.
Let's hope some lessons are learned in future and that table doesn't reappear so close to the touchline.
No, table's back.
victory, of course, with just a 5-day turnaround after their big win against Wellington Phoenix on Monday night at Etihad Stadium. So could be a factor in this second half. Sydney FC had a full week to prepare for this. This is the busy Ryan Grant. Led off by Ninkovic and then chipped over the top by O'Neill for Zullo, who's cleared his head, we hope, after that contretemps with the table. Alex Brosk. Zullo, 3 wait for the cross. Guerrier missed it. But it seemed easier to clear. He's helped out by Alan Barrow. Muscat was helpful with the table, but he's not going to give Michael Zullo the benefit of the doubt. And he tries to steal a few metres for the throw. Normal service resumed on the benches. A little too long for Bobo. Flying challenge by Zullo on Rojas.
Geez, that was a haymaker, wasn't it?
Certainly was.
Michael Zullo, whoosh. Well, there was a little nudge between the two in that last little break in play. I just wonder if Rojas has got under the skin of Michael Zullo.
It's well defended by Negro. Had a tricky first half. Those surging runs forward from right fullback of Ryan Grant. Here's Zullo on the opposite flank. It was just a slight trip by Bobo on Guerrier. At least that's what Chris Beath has ruled.
I can get out of that, Jason Guerrier. A couple of shaky moments for the victory right fullback at the start of this second half. I don't doubt there was a foul that the ref had to blow, but it was an accidental one from Bobo. Still a foul nonetheless, but Jason Guerrier escaped.
Jason Guerrier, one of the players left out of the cut squad by Ange Postecoglou to travel to Asia next week. He was in the original party. There's another little set to between Broxham and Brosk this time.
Well, I think Lee Broxham will say Alex Brosk just trod on my hand in the aftermath of all that. Tangle of legs, anything can happen.
There's another tangle involving Grant and Austin, and it's Grant who's penalised. Austin remains prone on the turf. Ryan Grant is not impressed, to say the least. Well, who's run into who there, Andy?
Well, I think that's instruction. I mean, Mitch Austin does get to the ball first, I think, doesn't he? Anyway, it's a stop-start affair at the moment.
It's left Austin feeling a little bit groggy. And Rojas going at it again. Throw in for Sydney this time. Victory think it's theirs. They're going to be disappointed. Stab forward by Mahazi, but that'll float out of play. And here's that incident again, Harps, involving Broxham and Brosk.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little rake of the studs, isn't there?
So when the game is lacking in a little bit of flow and it gets into trench warfare, turnover in possession, tackle, challenge, turnover in possession, then the niggle does start to creep in, as if these two need an invite for that sort of thing. And the only antidote in clashes between these two big clubs is for the ball to start moving with efficiency. And neither Graham Arnold's Sky Blues or Kevin Victory's visiting team can actually establish any flow at the moment, and so the fight's on.
I've seen some tremendous scraps down the years between these two. So many draws down the years. So many occasions they just been so close in terms of their respective personnel and quality. Berisha. Well, got a nudge in the back there as well from Wilkinson. Upfield it goes towards Bobo, who's left the ball behind him. And the scrappy nature of the game continues, but it's favoured Sydney this time. It's Bobo looking for an option in the middle. And there was only Ninkovic there, and there wasn't really an angle. He has to settle for a corner.
Well done, Josh Brillante, because he used his muscle to real effect. And then when the chance fell to Bobo to do something creative, and he had plenty of time to do something, all he can find is the retreating defender.
Sydney's sixth quarter of the game, victory yet to win one. Brillante will get a second bite of the cherry. Lays it off for O'Neill, who clips it in. One in the air by Ansell. Ninkovic challenging Troisi. Breaks for Ryan Grant. Teal for handball. Again, Chris Beath unmoved. Chewing gum getting a fearful battering in the mouth of Kevin Moscott, as per. Good flick on by Bobo. And Sydney FC will get themselves another corner. That's 7. Graham Arnold's team trying to ratchet up the pressure in front of the Cove. Brillante short for Brosk. Change of angle. Decent delivery towards the back post, and it evaded Lawrence Thomas. And it was Matt Yerman arriving late. Difficult to find the angle to score.
Well, this is a fizzer from Brillante. I mean, it's so close to the perfect height. Lawrence Thomas is a fingernail at full stretch. He can't get it. And Yerman is within his rights to get more meaningful contact on that. He'd so love to have drawn level for his team after his non-effort defensively, or his sleepy moment defensively, invited the Rojas moment for the Austin goal, and probably could have equalised. Great work, Josh Brillante.
This is Wilkinson. Out for Ryan Grant. Gets the motors running again. His release in field. Doesn't find Brosk. And look at the determination from Ryan Grant. He said, stuff that. If I've made the mistake, I'm going to atone for it. And he did. O'Neill. Brosk. Can't quite angle it around the defender for Holosko. And it's run out of play by Mitch Austin. Brillante. Holosko. See what he was trying to do, but Marco Rojas was in the way. Looking to launch a counter for victory, but he's not got an awful lot of help. He's done about as well as he possibly could there, Marco Rojas. And a foul on Broxton. Let's quickly go down to Tara Rushton, who's been listening in to the dressing rooms at half-time, or at least trying to. Tara?
Thanks so much, Simon. Yeah, as we know, both coaches have been incredibly vocal on the sideline. It was no different at half-time. Kevin Muscat gave his side an almighty rev-up that could be heard from outside the dressing rooms. He said there are 45 minutes left. Work for your teammate, anticipate and stay inside the game. Steve Corica, Sydney FC assistant coach, said the message was to keep the ball better and be more patient with the ball.
Thanks, Tara. Good advice. Easier said than done, though, of course. David Carney limbering up on the sidelines. Maybe a fraction unfortunate to lose his place, but I suppose when it's to your good mate Alex Brosk, you don't mind as much. It looks as though we're going to see him pretty shortly too.
Well, he's got game-changing ability as well, David Carney. Amazing to have that sort of talent waiting, anticipating on the bench to come and make some sort of impact on the game, and you'd expect Carney to do just that. Such a talented left foot. For Sydney with a lot of the game at the moment, pretty much camped in the victory half of the field.
They've got a free kick. Ansell banging into Bobo. There we go, that underlines your point, Andy. 63% of the ball second half. Can they fashion a meaningful opportunity? Got partly cleared by Negro, and then Further away by Ansel. Back in by Brillante. Victory have got a man down far side. They want the ball kicked out. Justin back up on his feet now. He's been in the walls a bit second half, hasn't he? Steve Corica, the assistant coach. Last minute instructions for David Carney. We're told that it's going to be Philip Polosco, the man replaced. Next break in play. Broken up in midfield by Victory, and Trevisi sets off in pursuit of that one, but beaten to it by Vukovic. Coming back from an offside position was Bobo. So here's the change for Sydney FC. First one of the game. David Carney on in place of Philip Polosco, who's toiled hard this evening. And David Carney, the only man from either club, unless you count Kevin Muscat, who was involved in the very first Big Blue all the way back in 2005, before heading off on his overseas odysseys that took him, I think, about 35 clubs, Andy.
It was a Kentucky tour, wasn't it?
Dug out by Grant. Victory scrapping away for it in the shape of Besart Berisha. Austin on the left. What about the quality of the ball? It's not bad. Knocked back by Rojas. Besart Berisha trying to wrap his boot around it. It was deflected behind, and Victory in the 60th minute had their first corner.
And for the first time in ages, threatening the Sydney FC goal. And, you know, the theme was similar from Mitch Austin. It was a cross at first sight, but he was so far advanced that Danny Vukovic was close to, if not right on his goal line. He couldn't take the cross, as he's done from so many previous such things, and Rojas set Berisha up nicely.
All the players gathered in a group around the 6-yard box. That's the area of the delivery. Oh, and it was on target. The backheader, I think, from Berisha. Sydney scrambled it away partly. Negro back for Jason Guerrier, just hangs it up. Hopefully for Besart Berisha. This is Broxham. Back for Barrow. And Guerrier. Rojas can't reach it.
There's a lot of bodies in there. Ryan Grant helping out Danny Vukovic. Not that the Sydney keeper dealt with that. It was a good opportunity for Melbourne Victory. Their first corner, as you reported, Simon, and nearly got a dividend.
Here's David Carney's first real involvement. That's a good one too. He's showing a beautiful pair of heels to get rid of his opponent. Lee Broxham there. Out towards Zullo, good ball in, and Bobo just waiting for the chance. That down goes David Carney. And the Sydney FC fans appealing for a penalty. Carney too. Chris Beath has seen it the other way. Interesting.
Well, it was a good defensive header in the first instance from Nick Ansell. Because Bobo was right there looking to finish off.
What about this one?
No, Lee Broxham just slips. I don't see it as a foul either way. Broxham slips.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah, Carney can't get out of the way. That's just an unfortunate tangle. David Carney straight into the game, setting up that attack with a beautiful piece of technique on the far touchline.
Ninkovic can't control it. Hazy stretching. Ran out of pitch. Mahazi sitting in the Victory midfield today, and the absence of Carl Valeri. He's got a bit of hamstring soreness, we understand. Might have been some holding there by Brosk on Barrow. There's a bit going on off the ball here. And now Brosk turns and darts after the ball and gets away from Guerriat. Hangs it up towards David Carney, chests it down. Carney! That's a terrific goal! And the change has paid dividends for Graham Arnold. 1-1.
Well, that is a substitution and a half. But Alex Brosk has done brilliantly, really brilliantly. And David Carney's done even better. Is there a slight hint of a handball here? Off the chest, there is.
Oh.
Massive controversy. The finish is sublime. From that point on, the technique is outstanding.
Wow.
But what a talking point.
Well, David Carney involved in two big talking points in the space of 2 minutes. First, the penalty appeal, then a sublime finish, but you have to say that looked like a blatant handball by Carney as he went to bring it down. Now he's involved again and he's got the free kick. In fact, it's Ryan Grant, my mistake. It's the blonde hair.
Well, who else is going to win a free kick tonight through sheer doggedness other than Ryan Grant? Look at this from Brosk. I mean, fantastic power, beautiful cross, handball, superb finish.
Yeah.
I mean, one blemish on that whole sequence, and it was a key one, unfortunately.
And interestingly, not much of an appeal from the Victory players until they saw it on the big screen, when he could hardly miss it.
Well, now there's trouble. Brosk and Carney. O'Neill, what a choice of free kick takers. You reckon the mood David Carney's in at the moment, he'll be saying, leave this one to me, boys.
It is going to be David Carney! Oh, fine save by Lawrence Thomas to keep Victory level, for the time being at least. But they're rocking Kevin Muscat's team. And Carney's made a big impact off the bench. Now the Victory trying to restore some order. Down goes Berisha, he gets a foul. It's been taken quickly, too quickly for Chris Beath. There's an awful lot going on here, as there always is in a big blue. Cove in full voice. Behind Lawrence Thomas's goal away to our left.
Oh, they're making great noise. That'll be a foul. Alex Brosk will have to be careful. On a yellow card. He's set up the equaliser. He's leading his team really well, but he's still got to be careful. What a tight contest. Melbourne Victory back on their heels, but with the quality in their team, they're just as likely to strike back.
Kevin Muscat still having conversations with the fourth official about that equaliser, we understand. And not in the friendliest of terms, nor would you expect it to be.
Well, the big question I've got is, what sort of view did the referee have? What was his line of sight? I mean, there weren't a lot of players involved. Maybe Chris Beath, his view was impeded. And we're left to get on with the rest of this match, which has been fascinating. 2/3 gone. Teams can't be split yet again. Not for any shortage of incident or quality football.
Michael Zullo. A foot race with the equally nippy Marco Rojas. Ninkovic, a couple of step overs, back for Zullo. Ninkovic again. Drop of the shoulder, beautifully done by Bobo. Just stretching to try and tee it up for O'Neill. Breaks for Carney instead. Fended off by Guerrier and out by Mahazi. And Sydney FC again attempting to apply the blowtorch. The momentum they feel is with them. Solo looking to launch the long one. Bobo gets the flick on, and Carney didn't really get the contact. And for a player of David Carney's quality, Andy, that was a decent chance.
Well, it bounced up pretty high. It was a tough one, but he is capable of the remarkable.
It's surely a foul on Troisi. Pressure relieved for a moment on Victory.
Good boy.
38 meetings between these two old rivals. We've had 17 draws. It's the most of any fixture in the A-League, and as things stand, we're set for another one. Here comes Sydney FC again. Alex Brosk into the channel. Brandon O'Neill. Square of him is Josh Brillante. O'Neill again. He might have been forgiven for dropping the shoulder there and trying to go to Mahazi's right. Instead, he hesitated. Back with Ninkovic. Victor just can't get out at the moment. Recycled by Brillante. This is Grant. It's not the quality of cross that Graham Arnold wants.
So there's Chris Beath. He looks like he's got a pretty clear view and he's close enough. He can't say it's unintentional, can he? I mean, that ball's been flying for 25 metres. I know the defender is close to Carney, maybe his view skewed. He can only have thought it was accidental. Can't have not seen it.
Well, I think Kevin Muscat is making that very point. Meantime, whilst you were watching that replay, he has made a change. Oli Bozanic is onto the pitch in place of Rashid Mahazi. There's Socceroo. Left out of the starting 11 tonight, but he's got about 20 minutes to try and wrestle control back for Victory, who've really lost the initiative.
Oh, he's got a big point to prove, Oli Bozanic. He's been in reasonable form. He's had some terrific moments this season. He needs to find a couple of terrific moments here this evening for his team.
It was a terrific touch by Rojas. Worked inside for James Troisi off Berisha. Victory getting a rare sight of Sydney FC half of the field. Certainly in this second half anyway.
Yeah, they've been dominated by Sydney FC, and Oli Bozanic with James Troisi, the two of them have got to get hold of the centre of the park and start causing Sydney FC some trouble.
Oli Bozanic has good memories of this stadium, of course. Won a grand final here with the Mariners against the Wanderers 3 years ago. Actually scored his very first A-League goal here. It's chested down well by Brosk. Inch perfect release for Carney as well. Ryan Grant motoring on ahead of him. Here is Grant, cross deflected. Bozanic needs to get rid quickly with Brosk hassling and harrying him from behind, and Victory have coughed up another foul. Good field position again for Sydney FC.
In this part of the game, for most of the game, Sydney have been fantastic. You know, making a nuisance of yourself and then winning possession when really you have no right to do so. I'd say Ryan Grant has been the flag bearer in that discussion, but Alex Brosk hasn't been far behind. And that is a terrific advantage to win for your team. I mean, on many other occasions, Melbourne victory in this case would have played their way upfield, but Sydney are not allowing any such respite.
Well, Lawrence Thomas was tested by David Carney from a free kick from similar position about 5 or 6 minutes ago. This time it's going to be Brandon O'Neill to bend it, but not enough. Well, he'll be delighted, I'm sure, with the second half display, not necessarily with the scoreline. They've shown pretty good resilience, Sydney FC, after falling behind.
Well, he'd be, I would imagine, very comfortable with his team's ascendant position. But even so, when you look back over the 79 or 73 minutes that's elapsed, it's victory that have had the gilt-edged chances between the two teams.
Most of those, though, in the first half.
It's true. It's been all Sydney FC in the second half.
There's Bross trying to lead by example. There's the captain. Zullo. O'Neill. Delante off balance and stretching and then fouling Bozanic.
Right on cue. Statsman pipes up.
That's what he's there for.
They don't miss a beat, do they? Fox Sports stats guys. And girls.
That's a good ball by Troisi, and this is Mitch Austin. Oh, and the deflection came off the defender, who was Alex Wilkinson. I just had a flashback there to one of the last big blues in Melbourne, where Matt Yearman turned a similar sort of cross opposite side of the field into his own net.
Exactly the one.
Here's Zullo being pursued by Troisi. He wants the free kick. Graham Arnold does too. Shake of the head from Chris Beather. Now Zullo's out of position. Rojas, if the delivery is accurate, victory are in here. And again, there was the potential for an own goal, but well done to Ryan Grant, who sliced it intentionally over the top of his own crossbar. But Sydney FC was so stretched.
Well,
might they have had a foul, though, Andy?
They may have. That Ryan Grant again. He's not worried about what may or may not have, should or shouldn't have transpired at halfway. He was making sure he was getting back. That's a beautiful cross from Rojas. And there's the case again. Vukovic couldn't start with that advanced position because of the way the attack was unfolding, and he needed his defender, Ryan Grant, to do the job, and he obliged brilliantly.
So it provides a corner for Mitch Austin, who punches it in towards the near post. And it comes for Negro, and that'll be easy enough for Danny Vukovic. And just on Ryan Grant, Andy, maybe a left field suggestion, but we talk a lot about right fullbacks for the Socceroos. What about Ryan Grant?
Well, there's no one performing as consistently well as him at A-League level at the moment.
Discussion for another time. Meantime, Brandon O'Neill trying to curl it towards Grant, who was there in the penalty area.
Let me qualify that. No one's performing better than him. There might be others performing at the same level, but he's been really good this campaign.
More changes afoot on the Sydney FC bench. It's normally around this time we see Matt Simon, ostensibly for Bobo, but we'll see if that is the change that Graham Arnold makes. Just on his engines, and we just saw him there trying to get out the end of that cross from Brandon O'Neill. And not 60 seconds prior to that, he'd been back making the clearance in his own penalty area. It's incredible athleticism.
He's sucking in some big ones now, but he'll be ready to go next time his team needs him. He spent his share of time on the sideline with knee reconstructions, and he's at full tilt at the moment.
Negro and Brosk, latest two combatants in a big blue that has threatened to boil over on occasion. Not done just yet, but that's the fifth foul conceded by the Sydney FC captain, who, remember, was booked in the first half. He's going to have to watch his step. Another engrossing Big Blue. Hope you're enjoying it at home. We certainly are here. It's well worked by Rojas and Guerrier. Matt Yeoman's lost his bearings completely. It drops for Rojas, who'll arc it up in the air. It's an awkward one for Vukovic, but it's a good play.
Yeah, good goalkeeping from Danny Vukovic.
Former Victory player, of course, last season.
Well, he spoke really well during the week, Danny Vukovic, to our man Daniel Garb on Fox Sports News about the reasons for his move back to Sydney, and we certainly wish Danny and his family all the best as they work through the health issues with their son.
Another team able to stick hold of the ball for the moment, and Grant says I'll have it and leaves it for David Carney. Here's Grant, who is onside. Cut back for Carney! 2-1 Sydney, and David Carney has come off the bench and scored a brace in front of the Cove.
Well, it's a left foot of supreme quality. It's a football brain that is very fertile. And he sets off Ryan Grant, who's been outstanding for Sydney FC, who had the wherewithal to cut the ball back to one of the best left feet in the A-League. And he's not going to miss from there, David Carney. With pinpoint precision, he gives Sydney FC the lead off the bench. The super sub.
It's the first time he's ever scored a brace in the A-League. He is a hero, of course, in these parts. They called him Super Dave during his first spell with the Sky Blues. And it's a fair bet they love him even more at this precise moment. 1-0 down, Victory miss a penalty. And now Graham Arnold's team, the league leaders, hit the front for the first time in this Big Blue. And a couple of changes to inform you about. Matt Simon has replaced Bobo for Sydney FC, and Stefan Negro has also been withdrawn for Melbourne Victory. James Donachie is on in place of him. That means Lee Broxham does indeed, I think, go out to left back. Card for Miloš Ninkovic. 10 minutes to go. It couldn't be better poised.
Ryan Grant, does he drift offside? No. But it's just textbook from there. Brilliant cutback. And you'd expect such awareness from a player like Ryan Grant when he's in this form. He's been everywhere tonight for Sydney.
Victory have 10 minutes to turn it around. Mitch Austin with the set piece. Flag was up. Wouldn't have counted anyway. Chris Beath is happy to let that one go. Nick Ansell with the header. Vukovic claimed it anyway. Confirmation of that yellow ticket for Miloš Ninkovic. Confirm that Victory change for you. James Donachie on in place of Stefan Negro. Donachie has gone to his familiar position in the centre of the defence with Lee Broxham now at left full-back, and this is Ninkovic, who cuts it back, and on the volley is Alex Brosk. Well, I'll tell you what, if that had been his left boot, that might have nestled in the top corner. But it was his right instead, and it ended up in the Cove.
Please a right foot, he says. Beautiful setup from Ninkovic. As this one's flying over, I'm thinking we're about to enter hen's teeth territory. And then no, we weren't. Normal service resumed. But a very good move from Sydney FC. Big test for the home team tonight. Their toughest test in these early stages of the new season.
Oh, here we go. It's on between Donachie and Simon. Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough, I think was the message from James Donachie.
Was that perhaps why James Donachie was sent on? At the same time, Matt Simon made his appearance.
Well, do we need more biff in this contest? Ansell and Bross now the latest in the push and shove games.
Well, James Donachie forced to cool his heels over the last few weeks. Had the starting 11 position. That's been taken from him now by Ansell, so he'll be wanting to make a point.
Yeoman's free kick. It's towards the penalty area by Carney, and then Zullo was late on Rojas. Sydney fans cheering what they believe might just be a 5th successive win, which will put them within 2 of victory's all-time record of 7 straight at the start of an A-League campaign, but they've got a bit of work to do before that's confirmed yet. Carney, it's beyond Bross, the return ball. Carrying it forward is Nick Ansell for victory, and Matt Simon with a determined, robust challenge, which has almost become his trademark down the years. They might just open up the field here for Sydney FC if they're quick enough. A little bit slow in transition. It's with Zullo. I think they call that a no-look pass from Zullo, but I think his teammate would probably be saying, yeah, and no quality either. Down goes Broxton theatrically, expecting a whistle, and then a collision between Donachie and Simon again. Who's your money on in that scrap?
Well, I wouldn't know where to put my money, but wouldn't mind taking a ringside seat.
For Guerrier. Stepped forward, hopefully by Ansell. They get a throw in though, victory. Kevin Muscat eager to retrieve the ball. He knows that time is short for his team. Didn't quite break for Truisi nor Bozanic. Carney determined in his challenge. There's no space to operate, but they might get a chance here, victory. Danny Vukovic had to come out smartly and did.
Really interesting selection there from James Truisi to hit the ball across the penalty area, not roll it straight to Marco Rojas, or indeed go by himself.
Matt Simon blatantly dragged back by Jason Guerrier, and Chris Beath is going to have a word, not with the fullback, but with the Melbourne Victory coach, who is again playing his role of pantomime villain in Sydney to perfection. He won't care about that. Weingart sliding in unfairly this time.
Well, they're winning most of the challenges, Sydney. This is a lot like Brisbane last night against Melbourne City. They're doing it in different parts of the field, but just a reasonably clear advantage in those dual situations. The intensity from Sydney FC in their second half in particular has been outstanding. Still, Victory not out of the game, and they had that brilliant chance not a minute ago.
Victory really having to work to get the ball forward. I'm not sure this particular big blue will challenge some of the best ever in terms of quality, Andy, but the intensity's been there, no question about that. And it's still not quite one yet for Sydney. This is Marco Rojas, not while he's around. He's wriggled his way clear. What a goal that would have been from Rojas. Ball almost glued to his feet. Terrific trickery and just the finish missing.
Well, in the end, I think it was desperation probably from Matt Jurman that blocked the shot. Bounced up safely into Vukovic's hands. It was terrific wizardry from Rojas.
It's asking far too much of Jason Geria.
Beautiful close-up. Great duel, this one. Rojas versus Zulo, but he gets rid of two with the one turn. Inside a third, and it is Jurman on the stretch, along with Wilkinson. Who else? And what a great chance this for victory. Direct pass from Broxham. Beautiful turn from Troisi. And look at that pass for Rojas. It had been in on goal. If he feeds Marco Rojas instead of trying to put it on for Berisha. Great opportunity. They've been outpointed in the second half, victory, but that was really a wonderful chance. Get back level.
Zanuck, maybe again the wrong option. Austin was surely better placed on the left. Victory's decision-making could cost them a chance of a point here. They've got 2 minutes plus stoppage time in a game that they led thanks to Mitch Austin's 41st minute strike. They've missed a penalty as well, and you think back to that Marco Rojas chance in the first half. Victory really could have been out of sight.
Well, they don't mind a late finish here either, Melbourne Victory. I've seen plenty of those.
Troisi. Austin. Well, glanced off an arm, but Victory still with the ball, so play continues. It's Ollie Bozanic trying to work an angle. Gets a throw. Sydney FC, by the way, have now scored 10 second-half goals this season. Fascinating clash coming up for the Sky Blues next. They've got Perth here at Allianz Stadium. That's surely a foul throw. One leg totally off the floor, Alan Barrow. Don't often see those called, though. As for Melbourne Victory, they've got another big clash next week as well. Home to Western Sydney Wanderers. About to move into stoppage time here. Sydney with the narrow advantage. James Troisi to drive it from long range. Danny Vukovic always had it covered, and we're into 3 additional minutes. A game that looked for so long as though it might produce a dividend of 3 points for Kevin Muscat's team, on at least one. Looks as though it's going to end with the maximum for Graham Arnold. And a perfect 5 from 5. On balance, Andy Harper, is it the right scoreline for you?
So far. When you look at clear-cut chances, of course, Victory will be thinking, you know what, we might be better placed. But the way the game itself has unfolded, Victory have found it difficult to get going. Sydney have pretty much closed them down. Look to have delivered a little more intensity. And, of course, all that's going to be consigned post-match, because the David Carney effort on the first goal for Sydney FC is going to dominate post-match, you'd imagine.
Collision involving Geria and Zulo. Zulo at fault. He's got a touch of cramp as well. Clear foul. Maybe a bookable foul as well. There's no real attempt to play the ball. And in this situation, second minute of stoppage time, you could almost say that was a time-wasting exercise. This certainly will be. Michael Zolo's had an interesting night tonight. He's had a contretemps with a table.
Fantastic game from him, though. He's so focused.
Sands of time running pretty thin now for victory. Have they got anything left? Bozanic, square for Donachie. They're going nowhere in a hurry here, victory. They need to get it forward. Troisi, drop for the shoulder. Trying to burst through the lines. He gets a free kick. That's what victory we're after. It might be all on this for Kevin Muscat's team. One last chance to square things up. Sydney's long wait for a big blue win almost over, unless Troisi's ball in's a good one. And the flag was up. And that might just do it for the Sky Blues.
Yeah, Nick Ansell hadn't regained his ground. Perhaps Marco Rojas the same, but it was Nick Ansell who made the challenge on the ball.
Kevin Muscat's expression, I think, says it all. He knows that the game is up. And a blast on Chris Beath's whistle confirms it. It is, thanks to a brace from David Carney off the bench. A first big blue win in 1,014 days for Sydney FC, who in the process maintain their 100% record. 5 games, 5 wins, 5 very good reasons to believe perhaps they will end their 6-year trophy drought this season. It was a bit feisty on the sidelines, it was a bit feisty on the pitch, to say the least, but it's Sydney who get the win. A new experience for Kevin Muscat losing this fixture, and victory, who led through Mitch Austin's 41st minute goal and also missed a penalty through Besart Berisha, must now regroup for the Wanderers next weekend. That's the way it's finished here at Allianz Stadium. Sydney FC 2, Melbourne Victory 1. Let's get some reaction with Tara.
Yeah, thanks so much, Simon. I'm joined by Dave Carney. Dave Carney, 30 minutes on the pitch tonight and quite the return on investment.
Yeah, it was not nice to get the win, especially against a team like them. We've not beaten them in a while, so it's a great feeling. We've been full of confidence, but to be fair,